All right, man, you can pull yours up because I know you said you got a clip, and we
Yeah,
do have something big to talk about too.
Yeah, this ties into just we haven't gone too in depth into the NFL just because I like to wait till 4 weeks of the season have gone by, then we get into a power ranking. So next week we'll have an NCAA top 10 that we can kind of sort through, and we'll have an NFL one, and we can get a little more dialed in on the NFL games. You just don't really know what's what until week 4. Teams start slow, teams start fast. Then you can kind of compare this team played this team beat that. You can kind of do a little more mix and match. But one thing we do know is the Eagles are 3-0,
That's a fact.
and they
Go
can
Birds.
push sneak, they can tush push like no one else, and everybody hates it, right? Well, I don't. I don't care.
I'm good with it.
Like I'm fine by it. But Chris Sims, never been a big Eagles guy. Hates Jalen Hurts pretty much. Thinks he's a stooge who can't throw. This is what he had to say about we're calling it the tush push.
But they know. And then, the other thing that's going to stop it is, and which is like, if I was a defensive coach, I'd be go ahead hunting on the quarterback here. Go ahead. Let him have it. Dive over, go crazy, try to kill the quarterback. That's what I would do.
Okay.
I know. I don't mean it.
Hands immediately go up.
I didn't say that.
No, I did, but
I didn't say that. Second of all, that's
Wait a
not what
second.
Chris means.
Yeah, I don't mean kill, but I mean just make them pay,
mean?
make them.
I don't know that you mean that. I don't know what you mean by that.
Aspect is like, yeah, there's some teams.
So that's what that idiot had to say. You have I could pull up more. You have Nick Wright. You have shout out Patty right here. This guy is a loser. There you go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Patty. You just have a lot of people saying it's an abomination to the league, like to the NFL. And the only thing I'll say is week 1, 4 other teams tried to do it and they went 0-4. So if it's so overpowered, why can't everyone do it at the same rate? Which is what I'll pull up my my response to this, which is what I put. If it's so unstoppable, why aren't other teams' conversion rates similar to the Eagles? Seems like a skill issue to me.
If you want, you can also pull up my response to it. I responded to Nick Wright actually. I retweeted Nick Wright, and
we'll get yours on here
just to kind of get like.
Yeah, so Nick Wright, we might as well play this too.
Eventually be proven right. That tush push play is a blight on the league. It's bad for the sport. It should not be allowed. And the question I would ask everyone that says, oh, just get better, get tougher, get stronger, learn to stop it. If Philadelphia perfected it to a degree where instead of being a guaranteed 1 or 2 yards, it was a guaranteed 4 or 5 yards, would the NFL outlaw it? And the answer is yes. It would be the only play they would run, and it would ruin the watchability of the NFL. At the end of the day, pro football is the entertainment business. It is not going to be in the league 5 years from now. It might not be in the league 6 months from now.
So that's what he had to say. Now, I do kind of agree with the if you could get 4 to 5 yards.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd ban it. I tend to lean on the side of why, if someone is playing within the rules of the game, why, like, if someone's being creative, like, okay, so, like, it's not fun to the eye to watch it, but, like, I just don't get I don't know. It's like, I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but people banning like shifts.
Yeah, I think that's a great equivalent to it.
Like, why does the offense just, like, if you can't hit it the other direction, then why wouldn't I move my shortstop over and have 3 on one side? Like, why wouldn't I do that? Why do I get punished for you being bad at something? Like, if I'm a defense, I should be able to put my humans wherever I want. And if you think I'm an idiot for doing it, then so be it. But I have the right to do it. It goes the same way with this. Like, why can't I do a sneak? I'm not breaking a rule. I have enough guys on the line of scrimmage. Like, I don't get it. And so you said QB sneak has been in the game since it first started. Any quarterback can do it. It's not the Eagles' fault that their QB is an absolute dog. Go get a QB that squats over 600 if it's that big of a deal, which I agree with. Yeah, you can speak more to that though.
I mean, so just kind of going through the complaints about it. First of all, it's like what you said. You want to break down football to its basis elements. Okay, that's fine. What is more authentic to football, which has always been a bunch of stooges lining up, running into each other, seeing who's bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic, and kind of more crazy in the head.
Yeah.
Than having you need 1 yard, your quarterback lines up under center, and because my quarterback is more athletic, my offensive line is more athletic than you, I get punished because the defense can't stop it. Why don't they? Here's a thought, and I haven't seen any team do this. If you know it's a QB sneak, why don't we hit a little bear front and hit a 2-eye and a head up? Like,
yeah,
try
or
that.
like the only thing I could see them banning maybe is like the push part. Like, hey, you can only have one guy pushing.
But
or
it
you
doesn't
can't have
matter
three.
about the push. So
Yeah, like
JJ
they just
Watt's
hate
on
that they
that.
can just like go in and do it. Like if you're saying, hey, okay, only one guy can put hands on somebody and push them forward. Okay, if you want to make that, like, I bet you they still do it though. I feel like this is more of a Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce success than anything else because we've seen a lot of teams fail. And I think
if it's that big of an issue, why don't teams just sign like Cam Newton? There's a big quarterback. He can lift a lot of weight. Sign him and he'll do your quarterback sneak. Like,
for sure.
As a Rams fan, I will say this. I could run a quarterback sneak with Matt Stafford. Do I want to? Absolutely not.
No.
Am I going to be mad at the Eagles for finding a play with their playmaker that works?
Yeah.
No, it'd be the same thing as if people said it's illegal for Cooper Kupp to motion all the way across a bunch formation, then loop back underneath so that he can get himself a
or the
or
the Tyreek. They're basically playing Canadian football. He just has a running start and then goes up the field. No one's in arms about that. We haven't really seen that much, and it's like, wow, look how innovative the Dolphins are, and I think they are. I think it's fun, but I think if you only let one side of this coin go, then we're losing touch with it. Like, I don't agree with it's entertaining. People are going to watch no matter what. It is the NFL. People have been involved in this thing for years. Like, we're going to way longer than a QB sneak being the greatest play in the world. Like, I just think once you go and start just like find a way to stop it, or don't let him get into 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. Like, that's your own fault. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because another example of that, the Kansas City Chiefs, what was it, 2 years ago, did a QB sneak with
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, and his knee ended up at his ankle.
Yeah, and people like Brady used to do it all the time. That guy's the GOAT. Like, everyone would say, well, 1 yard, Brady sneak time. They don't really know how he did it, but he was just the best at it. Like, this is just a different iteration. I will say one thing, which is a little more analysis, just because I'm an Eagles fan. I watch all the Eagles games. One thing that I think separates the Eagles sneak from other team sneak is Jason Kelce is notoriously a quick snapper. Even when Hurts is in the shotgun, he said on the podcast, the New Heights podcast, with that when Kelce's snapping, that ball gets to him fast. It's there because Kelce wants to get up and be ready to block, and the same goes for when it's under center. Like, it might only be 0.1, 0.2, couple tenths, but in that situation, if it's 1/10 for you to be here and your hands get underneath instead of missing a guy, like, that can be the difference. So I think people aren't taking into account how athletic. I mean, people know how athletic Kelce is, but in this situation, he is almost more of the key, because if it's a bad snap, if it hits his hands a little hard, if it gets there slow, a lot of things don't happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just tough to hear people complaining about that, because it's like, look, one, if we're going to talk about it, it's boring. Well, you said it's a points-driven league. Well, the Eagles are going to score a lot of points with it, so it's not a defensive snooze fest. But two, like you said, what happened to first down, second down, third down? Like there's
There's a lot of
so
other
much in
downs.
between that we could get done. So I just think complaining about it, you could say you don't like it, and that's fine.
Sure.
But to say we need to outlaw it and this and that,
Yeah,
like,
to say it's like an abomination to the
that's
NFL.
just
Like,
so
what
bad.
about like the probably 50 guys that are in the NFL that have punched their girlfriend? What about those? Huh?
Yeah.
Like abomination. We're letting guys like out. We're letting guys play with warrants out for arrests. Like, come on now. What are we really talking about here? You know,
Yeah, I just
we got
I
Deshaun
just think
Watson
it's
playing
stupid.
football for crying out loud, huh?
You know what? Speaking about football, we can kind of jump into. I saw a big thing on social media was that Colin Kaepernick wants back into the league.
Yep.
And you have all the right to say that you want back into the league. I did not know you could just send a
I want
letter
into
saying
yeah.
I want to play because I'd love to play. Let me just send a letter to the Jets and
Like
say
what
I'm
do I
in
do? Can I
June.
send a letter to like I don't know. I'll send a letter to Madeline Klein like, hey, you want a date? Like I'm open to it.
Hey,
I'm down if you're down. Like
there you go.
you
Let
don't
me
just
done.
get to
You could
yeah.
just
Here you
send
go.
a letter. Here you go. Like here's
I
my
don't think that's
resume.
how it
I don't
works.
know. Yeah, I don't think that's how it works. But I've been hearing the chatter about Kaepernick for probably since we were in high school. You know, just hearing about how
Mhm.
Kaepernick was the best. Kaepernick was this. Let me just pull up this guy's stats so people
Here we
can
go.
stop chirping about this. Let's stop talking about what his legacy is, I guess, and just talk about the player. So these are his stats from ESPN. This is just the regular season talking about it, so we don't have to think about anything different because he played more times in the regular season than he did the postseason. He had one great postseason run.
Great run.
That was it. It was a
No
great
one's
run.
denying that.
No, but to sit here, so this is him in 2011. Not doing great, but we didn't start. I get it.
Yeah.
2012 went on a great season. Wonderful. 62% completion percentage, almost 2,000 yards passing,
Yeah,
10
not
tubs
bad.
to 3 interceptions. I mean, it's good, but it's not like
Okay.
crazy. We're taking care of the ball. We're doing what we need to do. And he's running the ball pretty efficiently, 415 yards, 6.6 yards per carry, 5 tubs on the ground.
Yeah.
7 fumbles.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely
tough.
not great,
Not great.
but
So 5 tubs, 7 fumbles. Got to
Mhm.
keep that in account. Then you just kind of look down here for the 16 games that he played here. We got the 3,000. That's great stuff. These are when he was in his prime, 2012, 2014.
Yep.
No one's denying that.
Nope.
Then we look 2014 to the 2015.
The 2015 is
2016.
when it gets like because obviously we kind of hit a downhill spiral there.
Yeah, if I recall, he was the backup to Nate Mullins at one point.
I think, and maybe someone got hurt, and that's why he played. It was
it
a
CJ
while ago.
Beathard too? I think.
I think that was a little later, maybe, but
Okay.
I do know that last season.
Yeah.
Or maybe the season before, he was third string at one point. He was
Yeah.
third coming out of training camp.
So I mean, this was back in 2016, and I'm looking at it. 16-4. That's great. The year before 6-5, like
Yeah,
6 tubs to 5 interceptions just won't
average.
quite get it done. And I'm looking at I mean, I know people don't love QBR. I'm just looking at his rating. 56,
kinda-
56, 52, 52. Like
Yeah,
that's
and
not
I'll
really gonna do
say,
it for me.
even if you look at the stats and say, hey, like he's all right, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Like the last time he played ball was in 2016. We're getting on 8 years now without starting in the NFL. You don't just like come back in and you're like, oh, I'm good now. Like even if it was someone like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, like if Tom Brady came back right now, he probably wouldn't be playing that well, and he hasn't played for
Like
not
half a
even
year?
a year. Like he
Yeah.
just stopped. Like it's hard. So to come back after playing nowhere, playing nothing, like
Yeah.
dude, like stop
It's
it.
just
All right, it's getting annoying. It's every time there's like an injury, it's like, well, I'm always here ready. It's like, okay, dude, whatever you say. Like, why don't you then go play like CFL
AFL,
or
CFL, yeah.
USFL or XFL just to like play and then maybe have a like, oh hey guys, I've been doing all right, but that's beneath him at this point. So, which
Yeah,
is
and I
fine,
mean,
dude. Do your thing. You did a lot. You did your
you had a great run.
social. You did your social justice stuff. You're still
Yep.
doing it. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be hating. All right,
Well,
I'm not the
do what
biggest
you gotta do,
hater in the
man.
world, but when it comes to football, you ain't been playing ball.
No.
Go home, okay? Like,
Yeah, I'm sure, because I mean I've heard the chirps as far as and I understand it with Zach Wilson and I did watch the tape. First of all, for anybody out there who when they do the QB combine and they talk about hand size and people say why does it matter about having a large hand? Well, when you get into inclement weather, when it starts to rain a lot and you got to grip that football, Zach Wilson is why they check your hand size to see if you have a big hand to play in these areas like New York, Philly, just the East Coast to make sure that
Mhm.
you can hold on to that ball. There were a couple of plays where I think he had a turnover on one of them, if I recall. He goes to throw the ball and it slips out of his hands. Just
yeah.
so I agree. The Jets, I think the Jets are going to trade for quarterback. I specifically thought that they were going to try to get Matt Stafford. I thought that they were going
I
to take
could
an
see it.
effort
I've
for
been
him.
hearing the Kirk Cousins hype train has been kind of rolling a little now that they're 0-3.
Kirk
Could
a
see
little
that.
bit. I could see that happening.
But maybe they
yeah,
won't. I don't know. If Rodgers speed bridge or whatever that Achilles thing's called, like if that gets locked in, maybe he's back by week 16. You never know.
I mean, apparently he listens to dolphin mating noises.
Yeah,
and that helps his
we don't
leg.
even
I
need to
mean,
get into that. That's a whole nother. We could talk
yes.
3 hours about what that guy's up to. That guy's a freak.
Oh man, I'm trying to. What else do we got to go through? I think we've covered quite a lot today.
We've covered most for ball. I think we can get into more NFL stuff, like a recap of the weekend next week when we kind of have a top 10 rankings kind of more solidified. Just in case that people didn't really catch it. I'm a Eagles fan, obvious Rams fan over there. I don't know which way my thing is pointing. Over there. Yeah, so couple, recent Super Bowls. Teams are looking okay. Rams are hoping to get cut back. Eagles are kind of been playing okay, but they're good enough to play okay and win. So